oftentimes the blessings of God don't present themselves in the form of something new arriving in your life. But oftentimes the blessings of God present themselves by way of God maintaining what we already have. Your car don't break down. Your clothes stay on your back. Shoes stay on your feet. God continues to maintain what we already have.
All right, now y'all know I couldn't let Jonathan leave without hearing about his prison stint and how he went from a convict to the pulpit. Listen, he's dropping some gems today. So y'all, let's welcome Jonathan back.
All right, welcome to Miss Drea. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. Listen, I have one of my dope friends with me, Mr. Jonathan Stubbs. How you doing today?
How's it going?
Good. So we're going to get into a really serious topic. I don't know if you all remember on the previous episode, he talked about his stint in prison and that he had to do 10 years. And so I want to dive deep into that and get a full understanding of what your experience was. Give us like that backstory and just how you kind of grew out of the ashes. So you was robbing these folks with a pellet gun. First of all, what made you want to rob somebody with a pellet gun?
I think that when I was 17 years old, me and a couple of my friends, I had one friend that worked at a place called Sports Authority. It puts you in the mind of Dick's Sporting Goods now.
Yeah.
And they had all these pellet guns, and the pellet guns, they look real.
They look like a real gun.
Us teenagers wanting something for nothing, wanting to make fast money, etc., like most knuckleheads do. We got the pellet guns, and we figured that if we ran into the stores, hollering and cussing and throwing things around, that the people that worked there would think that the guns were real. And it worked. We went into, in 1998, we went into Papa John's, Subway, and Quick Trip. Not in that order. And we robbed all of these stores with the 12 pellet guns. In fact, at that time, I had never owned or shot or possessed a real gun ever before in my life. The gun just looked real. And subsequently, what had happened had resurfaced. They lock up one, lock up another one, threaten you with some time, just like in the movies. And somebody always tells, and they told, and I was the one that received 10 years to serve in prison. The other people were like a year younger than me, so I was like 18, so one was like 17, and we had one female that was a getaway driver. And she only got like a slap on the wrist, and the other guy got like 10 years probation and like 90 days boot camp or something like that. But they felt like I was the mastermind. They felt like,
because you were the older.
You're right. They felt like these robberies wouldn't have happened if Jonathan wouldn't have pushed it. And it's kind of accurate.
Wow. Oh, it's kind of accurate.
Yeah, I mean, if I think back on it, we weren't a gang or anything like that, but I could have said, let's not do this, and it would have happened, for sure. So when I look back on it, I do believe that I was the one that was doing the influencing as opposed to being influenced. But whatever the case, I don't think that I should have went to prison for 10 years having a toy pellet gun. But thank God that's over, said and done with.
Yeah. So, okay, I know teenagers, an idle mind. So what was the standing point, or what led up to, okay, we sitting around either playing video games, 98, so we still had Super Mario. So y'all sitting around the house. What click or who came up with the idea? Let's go get these guns. I know you said y'all was at Sports Authority. Did y'all just go in there? Somebody worked there? Y'all just
we had a friend that worked there and he was stealing the guns.
Oh, so y'all didn't even bought the guns.
We never even bought the guns. He had the guns hanging up on his wall. And we was like, man, like these guns look so dope. like man, like I bet somebody that think these things real, and like they took like a little cartridge in the bottom of them. They were metal. I mean, they looked really like 45s and Glocks and the whole 9 yards. And I really don't recall whose idea it was to use them to go rob.
Right.
But I do remember him stealing the guns and having them, and us being fascinated by how real the guns looked.
Right.
And then we decided, like some knuckleheads, to go and robbed the stores, and all got locked up. We never got caught at a robbery. We were like bragging about the robberies and how much money that we had. So put this in perspective. I don't want you to think that Papa John's or Subway or Quick Trip was surrounded by police and we came out of handcuffs. No. We went and robbed the stores and got away and spent the money. Days and some weeks go by. And it was actually a party at a girl's house. Her parents were out of town. And while some people were upstairs having a good time and whatnot, other people was ransacking the house. And so when she found out what had happened, she had called the police. And so the police were initially called because a lot of things had gotten stolen out of her house. But from that, it kind of matriculated into other things that had happened with Jonathan and with the other accomplices that were involved in the robberies, and that's how all that stuff surfaced. Wow. And they locked people up and put the light on you, etc. And all the truth came out, and we got in big trouble.
So basically, y'all had got away, and then y'all went and robbed this other girl in her house.
Yeah, she had a party at her house, and my friends was going through all the drawers, taking baseball cards and watches, and
so you weren't with them doing that.
No, I was upstairs with a girl.
Oh, with the party part.
Right. And so when we came downstairs, you could just tell that the place had been ransacked. Yeah. So that's how that happened. So
y'all get caught up, and so did you get arrested at that location?
No. So they did an investigation. I went home, and this is how I knew I was in trouble. I came home one day and my mom was like, "Hey, you robbed some stores? That's not good." So and of course, like, what the heck are you talking about? You know, like, but for her to say that, she was like,
the blue?
Yeah, she said, "You better tell me what you did so I can help you." And I was like, "I ain't robbed no stores." And sure enough, like the next morning or the morning after, 4 or 5 police came to the house, surrounded the house, came and took me out in handcuffs and the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had never gotten out since that. I went to the county jail, went through the process. I was in the county jail for like 2 or 3 years while they get all the facts together or whatever. And then from there, I pled guilty. And from there, I went to Jackson Diagnostic Center for about 6 months, and that's where they classify you to see if you're sick or the severity of your crimes, and it kind of determines where you go to prison.
To maximum or medium or low.
Right. And so then from there, I wound up going to the state penitentiary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So when they came to your mom's house, so when your mom talked to you about that, so you still denying it the whole time?
Absolutely. To her, the judge, whoever else asked, no doubt about it. Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's your story. You sticking to it.
And I stuck to that until they were like, "Listen, the way the system works, if you go to trial and you get found guilty, you get the maximum sentence." So I would be in there now, you know. So anytime you go to trial, anytime you force them to get a jury and go through all that trouble and all that money, and you get found guilty, you get the maximum. But if you want to just save them time and money and plea out, then they always cut you a deal, and the deal was for me to do 10 years in prison.
So what's the maximum for armed robbery?
20 years for each count.
Oh wow.
So he specifically said, "Your Honor, if he goes to trial, we want him to serve 60 years.
They want for each count. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. This is the prosecutor.
this is the prosecutor. This guy might have been 24, 25 years old.
Yeah.
Some white guy, and
throwing the book at you.
yeah, and another tactic that they use. I told you how long I was sitting in the county jail.
Mm-hmm.
You're sitting in there so long, you're just desperate to get it over with. Hey, we got a deal for you. Okay, so you've got guys on probation who pleaded guilty to probation and other things, and they didn't even do anything. They just want to get out of it.
Want to get out.
Yeah, because
Wow.
they play this waiting game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I see it time and time again. So it should be a crime.
Wow. So as far as your representation, did your mom pay for somebody, or you had to get a public defender?
My mom in the church hired an attorney.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you got the proper representation you needed?
Now looking back, I did the robberies.
Right.
So even though it was a pellet gun, the people that got robbed didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
That matters. For you to be at work, minding your business, and somebody comes in and points a gun in your face, and your life flashes before your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That matters, you know. And there needs to be repercussions for that.
Right.
So the reason it falls into the category of armed robbery is not so much because of what I had, but because of what I presented and what the victims thought.
Yeah.
They could have had a heart attack,
True. That's what
and I would have got a murder charge.
Yep.
I mean. So thank God. Thank God I was able to do 2 years and look like this, and sound like this, and be just fine, and have my whole life ahead of me. I've really been fortunate because that thing could have went left.
Yeah.
They could have pulled their gun
I
and
didn't
shot
say they
me.
could have shot you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, while I don't agree that I should have gotten 10 years, I have to be honest when I say this thing could have went way further left than it did.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been really fortunate.
And then too, that was just the start. Like you feel like, okay, well, we getting away with Quick Trip, we getting away with this. Let's start hitting some banks. Set it out style. Cause that was set it out for coming out.
That's right.
So did it come out like 99 or something like that? I remember watching it in high school or whatever. So it probably was around that time. But it's like a teenage mentality that I don't mind.
Yeah, crimes, drugs, and tattoos are always progressive.
Mm-hmm.
Very few people get one tattoo. Very few people.
I have one tattoo, but it's a little bit of raw. That's it.
I have none, ironically. But it's progressive. You know, you try a cigarette. Now you try some weed. Now you want to sprinkle some dust in it. Now before you know it, you're on heroin and crack.
Pockets of mileage.
So first you stole the pencil. Then it was a bike. Mm-hmm. Now you're stealing cars. So now, to your point, it's Papa John's. Now you're robbing a bank. Mm-hmm. So thank God that thing happened the way that it did. I personally believe, Andrea, that everyone has like this rough time in their life. Mm-hmm. Like whether it's the death of a loved one, whether it's cancer, whether it's a divorce, whether it's going to prison. It's been a time where you're on your deathbed, and like if you check everyone's story, there's a pinnacle of an occurrence in their life when they were effed up. Okay. Mm-hmm. For I personally believe that prison was mine. That was yours. And for that to be mine, I am tremendously blessed because of the way the time went in prison. I wasn't suffering. I wasn't in shackles. I wasn't getting beat down. I wasn't getting attacked. Gangs didn't attack me. Okay. Like so many things that could have happened. It just didn't happen. You know what I mean?
That's that favor.
That's that favor. So if that was the severest thing that's gonna happen to me, I'll take that and rob to the sunset. I'll rob to the sunset. That's about it. Yeah.
Because that's what I wanted to get into. So now you in the county jail and you getting processed. So take us through that once you got processed. So. Well, I do want to go back to when they pull you out. Did they drag you out in your drawers?
No. They put me in handcuffs, put me a sweater on, had me put pants on.
Oh, so they just put some clothes on. So they were nice.
I wasn't hog tied or carried out. I walked to the car, you know, and they were playing good cop, bad cop. You know what that means? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. One guy's like, you did it. One guy's like, hey man, just take it easy. Tell us what happened. You know, we know that.
So hold on, they doing all this at the house?
They doing all this at the house.
They done read you your Miranda.
Oh yeah, they come in
okay.
and
Like,
you got to write them inside, but they want it's always a slam dunk for the officers to have the case figured out and give the court the least amount of work to do. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen.
So they want you to basically go ahead and give them a statement.
Yeah.
Before they even take you down.
It's a slam dunk. It's a slam dunk. Yeah. So went through that process and I went to the county jail and it was rough, man.
Wow.
It was rough. You get like peanut butter sandwiches with vanilla wafers on them. The bread's hard. The food. I mean, you're not eating pizza and wings. Those days are
Mama's
long,
Sunday dinner.
long gone. So I mean, imagine ceasing to have pizza and wings and a soda for 10 years straight, you know.
Wow.
It does good from a health perspective. But man, is it rough to try to make that transition. So I went from there. I went from the county jail and I was there for 3 years to Jackson Diagnostic. And Jackson was really rough because you're in a location where murderers are.
Everybody comes.
Yeah. Like whatever you are, you got to come through there. And mind you, I'm just a kid with no tattoos, no gang affiliation. I had a pellet gun. My bunkmate might have shot 3 or 4 people. So I mean, you're in here with some gorillas. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So it's really a dangerous place to be in. But fortunately, like I said, man, I've never ever had a problem at all in prison, especially once I started playing basketball and playing chess. I was on like a chess club where like, we had like tournaments and everything. And
all this is in Jackson, or when you had
all this was in Jackson. So I have been gone for 3 years, and you're kind of getting an idea of how the system is. But jail and prison are 2 totally different things. Yeah, 2 totally different things.
Wow. So so you say you didn't have to do the fight and all this. You didn't have to I'm trying to spell how to put it. You didn't have to run from them butch.
Dropping the soap?
Right.
No. I've always heard now. Mind you, this is on my mind because you see movies at the time. When I went in, there was a very popular show called Oz. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it was a real serious prison show. And you know, when you're home, these prison shows are just entertainment. Right. Now, when you're going into this place, they're shaving all your hair off, and they shaved all my hair off. I was bald headed, going through classifications, and I remember like, hey, don't pick up the soap, you know, because somebody looks at you behind. Don't take any snacks. Because if they put like a honey bun on your bed, say, hey man, get you something to eat. When you eat the honey bun,
they own you.
Legend has it that if you eat the honey bun, now you owe that guy something. And if you don't have the honey bun to give him back, then you probably have to give him your ass. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
You got to give him something.
Yeah. So the idea, the logic is not to accept anything so that he's able to pick what his reimbursement is. You follow what I'm saying? So all these things are on my mind. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm not accepting anything. I'm cool. You kind of go by vibes. You kind of go by energy. You run into people that you saw. Hey, Kendrick, that's you, man? What you here for? Man, I got caught selling dope. And so you got like a little buddy there. All these things help, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But from a protective standpoint, nothing helps more than being in a gang or being a Muslim. I'm gonna say that again. In prison, from a protective standpoint, nothing protects you more than being in a gang or being a Muslim. Those Muslims are nothing to be played with in prison. I mean, the gangs, you just leave them brothers alone. You know what I mean? So, me personally, I wasn't in a gang or a Muslim. I wound up being a Christian, and they have their own clique as well, but they're just not looked upon with the fear and the respect as Muslims are in prison. Yeah. So yeah, fortunately, no rapes. Never had to give anybody head, thank God. Never got attacked. I've never gotten raped. never got fondled. None of those things. And it can happen. I mean, what can one man do when 3 guys come into your cell and hold you down? There's nothing anybody can do. But by the grace of God, none of that kind of stuff happened to me, man. So I was able to maintain my mojo and get out and still have my swag.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had to be like, have them little stories that you don't want to tell.
Right. Yeah. You and that's real. Like, you got brothers who come home who look and act normal, but something be that happened to them brothers. You know what I mean?
Trauma.
Yeah, something be that happened to them brothers, and they'll never say it. I mean, who's gonna be for it to say, I got pumped in the butt? Who in the heck wants to tell that reality? You follow what I'm saying? Bless their hearts, but with 0 caps, thank God, that has none of that stuff. It's never even almost happened to me. I mean, like I heard one guy. One white kid. I heard of an incident of something happening to somebody, but to be honest with you, where I was at, that jungle type of prison behavior, that barbaric stuff that you hear, I never really witnessed that in 10 years. You know what I mean? So not only did it not happen, I don't even know anybody that it really happened to. Yeah, if I'm honest with you. So that's a blessing. Yeah.
So when you went from Gwinnett County, then they took you to Jackson. Where did you get transferred from Jackson?
Wheeler Correctional Facility.
Okay, in
Wheeler,
Georgia.
Yeah, it's like 4 hours away.
South or north?
I'll be lying to you. I'm not sure.
I've heard of
my mom and dad knows.
Right, because they had to travel.
Right. And that's another thing. Let me stick a pin in that right there. I didn't know that when I got incarcerated, in a weird way, I was incarcerating my parents too. You got to be very, very mindful of the choices that you're making, because there are people who love you, who you are automatically involving. Now, my mom and dad are locked up. How so? They're always at the prison visiting me. They're always writing me. They're always sending me money. They're always answering my call. They're getting frisked when they come into the place like they've done something wrong. Her house was broken into by all these white guys when they came to lock me up. You know what I mean? Her space disrespected, and it's just really, really a selfish thing for someone to do anything that would jeopardize the space in the life of people that really, really love you. I didn't know that. You know what I mean? So that's something to be mindful of how what you do domino effects on people that really love you and care about you.
And I think that is major, or that's kind of ministry in itself, to let the youth know that everything you do affects not only you, but like you said, everybody that you love, everybody that you're connected to. Think about your siblings, because you have a brother, right?
I do.
And so he went through that.
Yep.
You know, not seeing his brother for 10 years, or not being able to hug him, not being able to go play basketball, play the game, or, you know, just whatever, that bonding time. I know y'all miss that. And then, because you're your mom's baby boy, right?
That's right.
And so it's like, as a parent, her having to deal with her baby in prison. Like, that's trauma in itself. But I know it's a blessing for her to know that you was all right.
No doubt.
And like, you know, I'm quite sure she believes or knows that her prayers were answered.
No doubt.
Because you went in, like, what is it? The Hebrew brothers, and look, I always got to reference something, but you were, you know, the fire did not burn you.
Right.
You didn't get touched, and God was up, you know, taking care of you. He was covering you, because I have, you know, like you said, seen those movies and heard those horror stories. So it is such a blessing that you went in and came out. So when you went in, so where did you find that space? Because I know you came out as a minister. So what turned you into that preaching aspect, or saying that did you find that, okay, this is gonna be my get-go, this is gonna be my way to get around so I won't get attacked? Or was it just something already instilled in you that you just took?
I think that my involvement in the church and being interested in it was a result of seeds that were planted before I went to prison.
Way before.
I think that when mom and dad make you go to church, and you're like, this is a waste of time, this is nonsense, etc., and you see them praying, all of that stuff, it becomes relevant when you get in trouble. It made sense to me to ask God for help when I was in prison. I didn't want to get raped. I didn't want a gang to jump on me. I didn't want to stand here so long that my mom or my dad dies before I get out. I've counseled and prayed with all of these guys. 10 years is a long time. That's a huge window of time where all kind of stuff happens, you know. And so being in prison positioned me to ask God for help. I wasn't the type of brother who asked God for help when I had a job. My car running just fine. I'm mobile. I got the girlfriend I want. Ask God for help for what? I got everything I need. Right. But when you jacked up, it kind of urges you to lean more on Him for assistance. And so when I started asking Him for help and I started reading the Word and so forth, I had become so interested in the Word of God that it kind of stuck and gravitated to my mindset to where I memorized the vast majority of it. And so much so that now, you know, people are amazed at my ability to memorize the scripture from A to Z. But I think it all boils down to an interest, because, and when I say that, you'd be in a car with somebody and a new song will just come out. And he or she will be singing the whole song. Now, the song just came out 2 days ago. They're singing the whole song. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. If you don't have a good memory, how is it that you memorized the song that came out 2 days ago? And she'll say, well, that's my jam. It's your jam. You're interested in it. When you're interested in something, it opens up a part of your brain that's not open when you're not interested. So I was interested in the Word of God. And subsequently, I memorized it, learned how to speak it, learned how to deliver it, and teach it in the whole 9 yards, and had a great deal of success in and out doing so, even to this day.
I know you said that, you know, you were blessed that you didn't have to endure anything, but I just don't want our youth to get the wrong idea, like going to prison, that it's okay, oh, it's a breeze, I can handle them 10, or I can do this. So what are some, what are some deterrents that we can put out there to let the youth know, like, okay, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that. Like, you know, I know they understand that you told when you gotta wake up, you told when you can eat, what you can eat. Ain't no McDonald's, ain't no Burger King, ain't no Pizza Hut. So you have to adhere to the rules of the prison system and whatever the warden instructs. But what are some other deterrents that you can put out there to let them know that, okay, you ain't trying to go down that road. That ain't what you want to do.
The first major thing that is probably unseen is you are losing valuable time. Valuable time. Think about what I could have been doing for 10 years if my mindset was in the correct place.
Right. Wow.
Versus just sitting down, cutting somebody else's grass, wiping down somebody else's nasty showers. The food is absolutely terrible. You've got to survive on what's called zoom zooms and wham whams. That's soups, honey buns, crackers and chips and Snicker bars. And that's if you're fortunate enough to have some of your family sending you money for the commissary for those things. You've always got to be shaved. Your room's always got to be a certain kind of way. You don't get to pick your roommate. So you're very likely going to be in the room with someone that you're not compatible with. He might live in a real nasty way. It could be somebody that's in a gang or of an opposite gang. It could be somebody that is a homosexual. It could be somebody that is trying to make homosexual advances on you. You know what I mean? It's just really, really not a situation that anyone in their right mind would want to be in. Right. It's punishment for a reason. And the reason that they have designed it the way that they have is because it is extremely detrimental to a person who doesn't know how to make the best of it after he or she has messed up. And I've seen so much talent in prison. I've seen people who can play basketball better than Kobe Bryant. I've seen guys that can sing, that can rap, that can dance, that can build things, that can draw. I mean, just the skills and the talents is just unbelievable. But yet these men have more time to serve than their age. Wow. So he might be 25 years old, but he's got to do 50 years. So they really, really when I say they, I'm talking about the criminal system, the justice system, really has done a number on brothers in particular by putting us in there away from our families. You can't raise your family. You can't have a family. All your potential is just literally being wasted away, and it's benefiting them. So now you're walking down the highways, cutting their grass, washing their cars, doing all of this cheap, free labor for them. You know what I mean? So it's just not the way to go. So my encouragement to you would be to pay attention to your life. This is what I would do. When I say pay attention to your life, pay attention to what your life has shown you that you're good at. Don't venture over into an area of interest. Venture over into an area that's consistent with what your life has shown you you're good at. Then dig in that area. Read books on that area. Whatever your thing is that you have been naturally gifted to do, read and dig and go in that direction. And the likelihood of you becoming successful is astronomical, as opposed to you leaning towards something that you're interested in. Don't go with interest. Go with something that's consistent. If you know how to sing, you need to dig in that direction. I just want to sing. What's the likelihood of me being successful in that area? I can't sing a lick. So you need to move in the direction that your life has shown you. Hey, you know what? For reasons that are unclear to me, I'm kind of good at this. There's something that can be learned from that. Read books in that area and what have you, and get busy doing those things, because when you're not busy, man, you're gonna find yourself being busy doing all kind of other nonsense, and it's gonna wind up going down the wrong road like I did.
Right. And so I feel like not only are you speaking to the youth or whatever, but you're speaking to the parents, because if you see something that your child is good at, expose them to that. Continue to build that craft or whatever it is. If they enjoy books, or if they enjoy drawing, or even if it's sports. I know we in the Black community, we feel like, oh, he's gonna be a football player, basketball player, baseball, or then as they get older, they want to be a rapper. But find out what they're good at, what their God-given talent is, and expose them to people who are living that, and allow them to grow that. Educate them, because that's going to be a main thing. Letting them learn the ins and the outs of that, and allow them to build and grow that. Because I keep saying that I don't mind, because you sit there and you're doing nothing, then you think of and conjure up all the worst things in the world that can get into.
No doubt.
And I'm quite sure that's what y'all did as a youth. Is that we twiddling our thumbs, and it's like, dang, what can we do? That quick fast money.
Yep.
Oh, I got these pellet guns. I got this. Let's go do that. Let's go, so and so leave their car open. Let's go see what they got in there. And so you have teenagers that what they're doing now. We see them on the cameras, walking the streets, breaking in folks' cars, or going in people's cars who leave their cars open and taking whatever. One thing, and I'm gonna let you go. I wanted to touch on. You were saying just being away, they take you away, the justice system takes you away from your family. Have you experienced like some of the guys there and them actually just losing their mind, like becoming mentally unstable because they're put in this space, they're locked away from the family, because you were lucky to have your parents to come visit you.
No doubt.
There are some guys that don't have that luxury because either their families don't have a car, or their family's kind of shutting them out. It's like, you got yourself in there, so now you got to dig yourself out. They're not having people putting money on their books. So did you see some guys that experienced that and kind of were, about to jump off the deep end because of that isolation, because of that incarceration and having that mind frame?
Absolutely. In fact, in the 10 years that I served, I've seen 5 or 6 guys get out and come back.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get out in 2003? Here it is 2007. Oh man, it's rough out there. The system is called being institutionalized. And what happens if you're not careful is you develop an attachment to the prison system. You don't realize it, but you become systematic in your way of thinking, and once you come out into society, you're not even able to function.
Right.
You have zero social skills. You have no people skills. You have no idea how to keep up with the progresses that society makes on a regular basis. It's always progressing, always moving up, always moving fast. And if you can't keep in step, you will get run over. And a lot of these guys, they get out and they'll go right back to the same neighborhood. They'll have the exact same mentality. They'll just be a little bit older. And so while I haven't seen anyone just completely lose their minds, you getting out of prison and coming back is a form of you losing your mind. Because this place is not designed for anything productive. There's nothing good or nothing popular or nothing to brag about going to prison.
Right.
So for you to get out and not be able to just stay out, I think that's a form of mental instabilities. Because if you've got to be humble enough just to work at Walmart. I don't care who it is. You can get a job at McDonald's or Walmart. No matter what is going on, no matter how beat up you are, you can work at Waffle House, Walmart, and McDonald's. You don't have to do crime. You don't have to sell drugs. You don't have to go and rob people. These are just not things that we have to do. Right. And so for us to put ourselves back through the prison system after we've gotten out one time, I think that it's just evidence that the system has in fact impacted our minds in a very, very negative way.
Wow. Well, I sure thank you so much, Jonathan. I appreciate you. Look, we're going to have to make sure we bring you back and get some more of that wisdom poured out. But we appreciate you for coming in and being able to just give us just a little insight. And so I say, keep doing what you're doing. Keep going out there and reaching the youth, because that's kind of my heart right there, being able to just go out and expose them to some of the stuff that we see coming. We see you going down the wrong road, and allowing them to say, okay, it's a better way. It's something different. What do you want out of life? And directing them into that path. So I appreciate you for that and going out. And I appreciate y'all for rocking with us. And please continue to roll as we continue to grow, and as I bring in more and more dope people that pours their heart out into society and to build this community. I want to continue to let the youth know that you don't have to try to go get this quick fast money, but do something right. Find out what you're good at. That's Parents, encourage them to do the right thing. Encourage them to grow their craft and grow their skills and build their God-given talents. So thank you so much for rocking with me. Please continue to follow me, Miss Drea on YouTube. Follow The Real Miss Drea on Instagram, and we'll see you next time. Smooches.
Peace.